We are in the 64th gate, and today we explore the first line of gate 64, the gate of confusion, and the first line is called conditions. This is the line of introspection. This is the line that sets the foundation for the hexagram, and it's called conditions. This is the pressure that will lead to historians and philosophers and idealists and their ideologies, to all things that are part of the abstract mental stream. It's all about conditions, to discover the condition itself in which the sequence takes place in order to give it a framework so that we can understand it. There are no introduction lines in gate 64. None of the lines have an introduction line. So there is, in a way, you could say, nothing to learn about confusion over the course of a life. We come in already confused. We don't have to learn about it. We just have to get on with it, surrender to it, understand that it is our nature. The exaltation says, in penetrating to the center, the understanding that instills the necessary harmony to survive disorder. Amongst the confusion, the difficulty in finding the point. Now, it doesn't say that you are guaranteed in any way in getting to the center, and yet it is about getting to the center, finding the point. If you penetrate to the center, you can maybe survive the disorder. Otherwise, you can't. The basis of what it is to have abstract inspiration is that it is really hard to find the point. And because you have difficulty in finding the point, you end up exploring many things. When you do get the point, which will not happen until the other side comes along, the 47, then you suddenly can have this kind of light bulb thing go off. You have your realization. What is the point of remembering all that stuff that happens to you in a day? Why do you remember what happened yesterday when you were in the shops? Why is all of this stuff in here? Why am I thinking about it? What sense does it have? What's the point? And of course, the 64th gate is not responsible for finding that out. It's just responsible for having all of that stuff going on and then putting it out there for somebody else to make sense of. The first line is the ultimate foundation line for the abstract process. It is saying, what the hell is the point? What's it all about, Alfie? And as long as there's no point, there's confusion. Ra always used to tell people with the 64th gate that their confusion is for others. It's collective. Hey, yay, the collective. If you share your confusion with others, maybe some of them, one of them, will be able to find the point for you. Maybe, or not, always. But somebody out there in your collective environment will have that 47, will able to hook you up to the ajna, will help you find the point. One of the dilemmas for the 64 is that it would like to be able to solve the point. It wants to be aware. And it's not an awareness center, it's in the head center, which is a pressure center. Every gate is looking for the other side. It wants that. Even if it's lower trigram and it doesn't know that there's another side, it knows that there's something and it wants what it's not. So the 64, it wants to be the 47. If you're living out your life the way you're designed to live, and you've got the 64 and not the 47, then that's who you are. It's not about what the dream means. It's about remembering the dream, sharing the dream. And if you do get to share that dream, then somebody else may tell you what it means. If you share the dream, you may get the point eventually in metamorphosis. You may get to the point where it suddenly makes sense and you get that light bulb go off. But that is not your job. Your job is just to get the dream out. In the detriment, it says the powerful temptation when having transition in sight to hasty action, an urge to act when you think you've made sense of the confusion. You know where the point is, and you want to get there now. The 64 wants to be the 47. The 7 wants to be the 31. The 21 wants to be the 45. Yeah, you get the picture. This is what conditioning is all about. We want to be what we're not. We're attracted to what we're not. And it makes perfect sense in the mechanic of it all, because it's through what we don't have that we learn our lessons. It's where the conditioning comes in. We're always going to be conditioned. Don't ever listen to anyone who says to you that they can stop conditioning, because it's not true. Other people come into our field and they condition us where we're not defined. The transits condition us where we're not defined. This is the program. This is what's supposed to happen. So we get attracted to what we're not. And if we're trying to live out what we're not, this is where madness comes in. It's not in the flow. It's in the attempt to make sense of the flow. This is where the magic lies, in not making sense of the flow. As soon as we step into that point where we decide we've got to be the ones to make sense of the confusion, to get rid of that terrible pressure, then we're losing the point. We'll never find the point from that place, because this is what we're not. So we can have all of this stuff pouring through us as a 64, and every time we try to resolve it, we bring ourselves towards madness, because the pressure cannot be the solution. So much of consciousness is pressure. It's the pressure of events that will force an awareness process. It's the pressure that makes the mind work. That's its fuel. And because of that, these people can be deeply inspiring if they don't try to be inspired themselves at the same time. If they tell you their dream, if they share with you their experience without quantifying it or qualifying it, that can be deeply inspiring for others. The foundation is actually in being accurate in terms of the sequence that's being shared. And of course, it's for other people. Well, this is the fuel turning on their mental system. The exaltation and the detriment here are two basic sides of what happens to the abstract being. On one side, the abstract being is saying, I'm very confused. I'm going from crisis to crisis, from change to change, and I cannot make sense out of my life. On the other side is the abstract being who says, aha, this must be it. And if this is it, I'm going to try it. Those are the two sides of the foundation of what it is to be inspired abstractly. They are driven, in the detriment sense, to try to act out what they come to believe makes sense. They can't know, because the 64 is only a pressure. It's not aware. The awareness is at the other end of the channel in the ajna. So the 63 one is the earth. It's what's grounding the 64 one. It's called composure. I guess it could be quite useful to be composed when confusion threatens to drive you mad. I don't know. Could be. I've been sitting with these earth gates, the earth in gate 63, and I sat with my own confusion around these energies, and it came to me that I was trying to make sense of this for myself. And of course, that's the whole thing with the 64, or with all of these mental gates. They're not here for us. They are here to act as outer authority for others, or to inspire others, or to get that from somebody else. So my job, I decided, what it comes down to, my job, having the 64 in the first line, is to offer you what I see, to offer it as clearly as I can see it, and then to let you make sense out of it. Okay, so on you go. Have fun. Do let me know what you make sense out of, because I'm just going to be confused for this whole transit. So the moon is also in gate 64. It's been in there since 3:32 this morning, BST. So we don't need to really look into that too much. I'm confused enough as it is. It then goes into gate 47 at 1451. And this is the gate of realization. This is really what gate 64 is wanting, that connection with the 47. It sorts through the mental images that come through from the 64, making sense of the past, finding the point, finding the meaning in it. And of course, we have a channel as the moon moves into 47 and the sun is still in 64. So just for a little while, we're going to have that channel. And it's the channel that gives its name to the circuit, the channel of abstraction, a design of mental activity mixed with clarity. This is the gift of processing the past, maybe in new ways, maybe in ways that it's been done before, but it's a way of inspiring others with your clarity, and it's clarity that comes over time. Remember, it's making sense over time, because this is a cyclical nature. Oof. Someone's been cutting the grass outside and my nose has just started twitching. I'll talk fast and get through this, and then I'll go and sneeze. So the cyclical nature of this channel of abstraction. So maybe while the moon is hooked up there to the sun, there may be an opportunity to make sense of the confusion today. But remember, it's not for you. It's not about you. It's not about me. Yeah, fun. Play with it. See what happens, huh? And then the moon moves into gate 6 at 2:13 tomorrow morning. And this is conflict. This is the gate of friction. It's a solar plexus gate, and it tells us that growth cannot exist without friction. We reflexly and unconsciously, oh, excuse me, oh, my nose is so itchy. We open and close when we are in the aura of another. That's the power that this gate brings. And it controls the emotional flow that comes out the solar plexus, which in turn determines whether there is the necessary friction for intimacy. Now, gate 6 is the generator of all of the emotional waves. So here we find need and passion and desire, together with moods and sensitivity and feelings. Boundaries are especially important here. With gate 6 controlling the pH of the body, it keeps what's inside inside and what's outside outside. Perhaps you will have some focus on the waves of energy that are generated through the transit as it passes through gate 6. You might notice some friction in your environment or some conflict, maybe, things to be aware of. And of course, we could throw the or not in. I'm going to go blow my nose. Okay, I'll sneeze all over the camera otherwise. Thank you very much for joining me in this new exploration, Gate 64, and the confusion that it brings. I wonder if we'll make sense of any of it as we go through the week. Well, maybe that's not our job. Let's just enjoy the confusion, and as always, we'll love ourselves through the confusion, and we'll go gently. Yes, I invite you to that. Take care. I'll see you for line 2 tomorrow.